I'm a police officer for the state of Nevada. During one of my patrols I saw something terrifyingly unexplainable. I'm a cop in Nevada for a tiny town of less than 1,000. Courtney, Nevada doesn't have an actual police force. The mayor is usually whoever is the soberest at election time, and it's made up of retirees and people trying not to be noticed. It lies between Austin and Eureka, and the whole town is managed by a single officer, me. I live in Eureka, but 3 months out of the year I stay in the dingy little Pomeranian and operate the emergency phone system. It's routed to my cell phone, and when I'm not out on a call I can be found in my room watching TV. The Palmer actually gets really satellite TV. You probably think this sounds like the post from hell, but the crime rate in Courtney is next to nothing. I've been doing this on and off for about 3 years, and I think I've only had to reach for my gun twice in that time. We do 3 months on and then swap with another officer for 3 months, but sometimes I'll just offer to do 6 months in a row. Courtney is as peaceful as a town full of oldsters and whatever else can be. After tonight, however, I'm not sure I can look at the place the same again. I'm trying to write up the paperwork now, but I'm just not sure what to say. There's no way they'll believe the truth, but I swear it happened. I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm hoping that if I write it out here then it might be easier to explain to my supervisors. I was sitting out on the town line with my radar gun at about 10:30 at night when the quiet town suddenly got less quiet. So, the only thing to really do in Courtney to justify my being there is to catch speeders on Highway 50. The speed zone changes from 65 to about 35 in the course of a mile, and the number of drivers that seem to think they can just blow through the little town doing 60 is too damn high. I had a rig of my own invention that held my speed gun up to the window and a good hiding place behind an old billboard, leaving me basically unseen and my hands free to watch whatever on my phone. I had foregone the adventures of Luffy and the crew in favor of a new horror podcast, and I was just getting comfy when something hit the ground hard enough to rock my cruiser on its frame. My phone fell into the floorboard about a second before the speed gun came down to hit me in the head, and I came out of the car rubbing my scalp and cursing like a sailor. I got out and looked across the street, seeing heat shimmers as something cooled in the desert nearby. The oldsters who lived here had told me that meteors were sometimes seen falling out in the desert, but this one had damn near taken my cover out. I had never seen a meteor up close, not unless you counted the ones at the museum my school had drugged the class to when I was a kid, and I was interested in getting a good look. It was kind of cool to see something that had been cruising through space up until a few minutes ago, and I made my way across the road and toward the crater. I was still in the road when, to my surprise, I heard the sound of metal grating against itself. I could see the top of something dark as it rose above the lip of the crater, and the top was still glowing from its entry through the atmosphere. The hole wasn't terribly deep, but this would have still been taller than me by a foot. It would have been a shame if one of those aforementioned speeders had come blowing through while not paying attention, because I would have been roadkill. I was about 60 feet from it, but it looked like one of those old NASA spacesuits, except made of silver. When it moved, it was the herky-jerky kind of steps that a sci-fi robot might make in an old 50s movie. It slipped in the sand a little but managed to find its footing as it made its slow way out of the crater. If it had noticed me, it gave no sign, and when it got to the top of the hole it turned and started making its way for town. I hadn't noticed before it got on solid ground, probably because the sand was running back to quench it, but when it stepped, its footsteps left little fires behind. It made it easy to follow, and as I went back to the cruiser to get my radio, I realized I had no one to call right about the time I keyed up the mic. I was here by myself, I was the law in Courtney, and it was up to me to do something about this. I dropped the handset and climbed in instead, keying the engine as I pulled out and followed the strange creature that had crashed randomly on the outskirts of the little burg. It wasn't hard to follow him. His feet left little fires behind him, and his pace was slow as he went through the desert and closer to town. Watching him go, I wasn't really sure what to do with him if I did try to stop him. Could he be stopped with anything in my car? I had a shotgun, my sidearm, and a couple of those flashbangs we use to control large groups. None of that seemed like it would do much against this metal man who was slowly making his way through the desert. Watching him move was like watching a stop-motion short. He was some kind of strange automaton, a metal man whose skin was still slightly red from his fall from space. Instead of pulsing and burning, as his steps had, he seemed to shimmer like a heat reflection. He didn't seem lost, his pilgrimage definitely going in a certain direction, and as the lights of the quick fill broke the darkness with their phosphorescent intrusion, I began to get a little nervous. The quick fill was a 24/7 gas station that boasted 12 gas pumps and a huge underground holding tank. God only knew what would happen if this thing set a fire that went down to the reserve tank. I whipped into the parking lot, popping the trunk and grabbing for my shotgun. It had buckshot in it, a higher caliber than the 9mm slug in my Glock, and when I hefted it, it felt like I had 4 shells ready and waiting. There was a box of 12 in the trunk, and I put them in my jacket pocket before chambering around and taking the safety off. I didn't know what this thing was capable of, but I knew I couldn't let it menace my town.